Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 4, Episode 21, Darkest Plight. This is a really awesome episode. You know, it's not necessarily the part 2 to the Super Shredder, but it might as well be. It picks up right after the last episode, and it was pretty awesome. I was happy to see, of course, Master Splinter didn't die, which I figured is what was going to happen. I didn't know how things would play out with Shredder, but I figured that they wouldn't at least, kill off Splinter, because that's somewhat a part of Shredder's story, is that eventually he dies, and then somehow Shredder comes back, and then there's a different Shredder and all that other stuff. So, I wasn't really sure exactly how things were going to play out, but I love the way it went down. I mean, just like the last episode, I thought this one was really great. I think this one actually had more, like I mentioned if you saw my last review, I felt that episode was seriously like 50-50, half action, half dialogue, and this kind of went back to the normal side of things where it was like 75% to 80% of it was actually dialogue, and the other part of it was action, but there was a lot of great dialogue, and honestly, Master Splinter stuff was phenomenal because what they did with the Rat King was insane, and I really loved that because he goes down, and I'm like, man, what's gonna happen here? And then the Rat King comes out, and that's what I was thinking too. I was like, he comes out and he's like really messed up and stuff, and I'm like, they need to kill this dude. And it was crazy seeing him. I can't remember if he looked this way last time. I think each time he came in, he looked worse and worse because of course he started off human, and then the last time he was bad, and then this time he had like the glowing eyes and stuff. And I was like, man, this is such a crazy, creepy version of this character compared to like the 80s version where he was just like a buff dude with like some raggedy clothes on. If you play like Ninja Turtles 4 on Super Nintendo, that's what I think of when I think of the Rat King, is like this dude on like this little boat thing that shoots out torpedoes and stuff. And then this dude is freaking super crazy and gross, and he's like eating rats and stuff like that. And I love the way it went through. I'm like, this guy needs to die. And it was like, I don't know, maybe 5 or so minutes. I'm like, this guy needs to die. About 5 minutes later, we find out all this stuff from Master Splinter was actually like a fever dream. And the Rat King is actually dead. Like, he goes over this cliff, like he was fighting, like, because I was thinking, that's insane that he can have these rats form together. And it's Ninja Turtles, but it was still like, they're still technically rats, and I guess if he's mind controlling them, I guess in a sense that does make sense that it could work. But it was just crazy. He has to fight like this giant rat with the Rat King in it. He's like jumping out, and it's like half his body. It was almost like some anime stuff where it's like the person is like half machine, half human still. And he's like jumping out of the stomach and stuff, grabbing him. He's like, just give in, to your basic instinct and stuff. And I love what they did with him. And then Master Splinter, he falls down, and he sees the dead body of the Rat King. And I was like, holy crap, the Rat King has been dead this whole time. He was just kind of having a crazy fever pitch, because who else would show up outside of the Rat King? It made perfect sense that that's who he would think of. So I love that whole side of the episodes. Like, that was phenomenal. Like, he's down there by himself, and he's thinking of the Rat King, and he's dealing with him, and it's like, this is insane. How is this going to play out with him having this broken leg? He still can't really like run around and stuff. So I love the way they did that, and we find out the Rat King is dead, which as cool as it was, it does sadly mean the Rat King is permanently gone. It was just like every time he came in, that was, if it's not Shredder, it's the Rat King. Like, those are the only two people in like the whole series that could even remotely affect Master Splinter, and it was either the physical element or the mental element with the Rat King. So, and I guess in the last episode, Shredder kind of got into some of the mental stuff as well. But I love what they did with that. I thought that was a really cool, way to bring in the Rat King one final time. And it made sense that he was dead at the end, because I'm like, him eating rats wouldn't keep him alive. That doesn't make any sense. Like, he'd still need water and nutrients and stuff like that. And sure, they could leave off and find water or whatever. And also, well, I guess not, because he did actually die. But he died during the fall, I would assume. He fell and he died. The way he was laying down, at least. He fell down and, he died from the fall. But the way they did it, I thought was just well done. I was like, that was just a really cool way to do it. The fall itself, when we see Master Splinter and Shredder, was insane, because Shredder, of course, gets hit, and he's on a beam, and Master Splinter keeps falling. And honestly, when he first hit his face, I kind of like, just something in me like died a little. I was just like, and I thought, because he hit his face as he was still falling, I was like, he's not going to make it. Like, he hit his face, and he still has a long way to go. But fortunately, he was screaming, as he was falling into like that final pile, he was still screaming. I was like, okay, he lived. When he hit that first beam and it hit him in the face, and they show it from like his viewpoint, and he's kind of he just closes his eyes because there's nothing he can do. I was like, holy crap, this might actually happen. So of course I'm glad it did not. That's my preference, is that they both live, honestly, because I still want Shredder to be in it too. But I loved Master Splinter's storyline in this. And then of course we have the Turtles, April, Karai, as well as Casey. I did mention that, like, most likely Casey's going to end up showing up. So of course he does show up. He gets a bunch of text messages from the team. So he goes in and he helps them. Sadly, no Shinigami. I was still disappointed by that. I was like, man, they could have gone and got her, and it would have made a lot of sense, because it's like, well, we could use all the help we can get at this point. So, I was also disappointed. I was like, man, it would have made sense too, because they could have gone to get her. But, Casey comes in, and then they have a bunch of different fights, which is actually one of my favorite things about this episode as well. It was kind of a lot of cool pairings. So we have, before we find out it's like a fever dream, we have Master Splinter versus the Rat King. We have Raph and Casey, which is of course the, kind of classic duo in the series. So we have the two of them going up against Bebop and Rocksteady, which was pretty sweet. Well, then we have Leo, Karai, and April going up against Super Shredder, and then Mikey and Donnie are going on the hunt for Master Splinter. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and I liked all the different fight scenes happening and stuff. And it led to a really great moment during the Super Shredder sequence where, first off, he was just destroying them. Like, he really messed up Leo during that one scene. Like, he just, at one point I thought he stabbed him, but he just grabbed him and was slamming him and tossed him in the air. But when after he knocked him out, and Karai was dealing with Shredder, and she was trying to get him and everything, and he threw that truck and April stopped it, and I was like, it's got to happen. I was like, it has to happen in this episode, because they're going against Super Shredder. And so she's fighting it, and then her eyes, of course, start to glow. She gets that kind of Super Saiyan thing, like her hair started to float and stuff, and she was able to push it back and everything. I wish that lasted a little bit longer, but I know that's the big story for the next episode. It's I think it's called The Power Within Her. So I'm very excited for the next one. But I was like, there it is. That's what I've kind of been waiting for ever since they had the Wingnut and Screwloose thing. I was like, alright, this is going to be pretty awesome. She was already going crazy with it. And then she tapped into that, I guess the purest form of it, and it gave her ultimate power, but it's going to push her even further. They even did the nosebleeding thing, the psychics always have to have their nosebleeds and stuff. So she went full force with it, and I thought that was great. So I'm excited that we're going to get to see more of that in the next episode. I wish we got to see a little bit more, because I thought she would be the one to stop Shredder in this episode, and technically she kind of did, because he was wounded, and Karai was going to go for the final move, hey, we can, if we do this now, we can get him. And then, unfortunately, Tiger Claw he came as backup to put him in the truck, and Leo was already knocked out, so April was like, we have to, help him, otherwise he's not going to make it. So they end up helping him out, and Shredder, of course, takes off, and I don't know where they're taking it. I don't know if they're going to do it, kind of like the old movies or anything, but it seems like he's not going to go back to normal Shredder. This might be Super Shredder, and then he dies like this, and then they go off and do the other versions of Shredder in the future. But he keeps wanting the mutagen. He's lost his mind, clearly, because he's trying to get Karai back in the last episode. In this one, he's still you're my daughter and all that. Of course, despite the fact that she knows the truth, he's just lost it. And a part of him, because I'm pretty sure he was like that even beforehand, when she had learned the truth, or at least when she first found out. Of course, she didn't know 100%, but now she knows even more so, and he's just he's almost denying it even more, it seems, because he's just going nuts and ignoring everything she's saying. But he keeps wanting the mutagen. I mean, his had the crazy arm thing going on and stuff after Karai punched him in the chest. And I thought they were just gonna have her flat out stab him in the heart, and then it would drain the mutagen, but not kill him. But she just punches him, and it weakens him a little bit. So, of course, at the end, despite the mutagen being incredibly unstable, which, they actually argue with him at the end of the episode, where Stockman's it's unstable, he doesn't want him to do it. Tiger Claw is I refuse to let you do this and stuff because it's so unstable. And he's, and that's not something we ever see with these characters, where they ever go against him or even try to warn him of anything. It's just like, alright, he said it, we do it. So it was cool to see that, whereas like they're really trying to help this guy even live because he's, you know, being so risky with this, you know, mutagen. But he's just like, give me all of it, give me more so that I can just heal up. And it's just going to be that constant temporary thing until either they find, you know, a good version to do it, or, because they mention it in this episode, Donnie says it'll be weeks before I have some anti-mutagen. So it's either going to be that they get the anti-mutagen fast enough, or Shredder is going to use it so much that it just like literally destroys his body. Like something's going to happen. It's either going to be a permanent mutation and they have to kill him, or it's just going to destroy him from within because it's unstable, you know, as it is, and he just keeps doing the temporary thing, and eventually it'll just all fall apart at once. So I have to wait and see. But great episode, of course. They save Master Splinter at the end, so everybody's reunited. Shredder's off to get, you know, more of the mutagen, but it should be pretty crazy, and I'm very excited for this next one with them going into whatever they're going to be doing with April and her gaining control over this kind of darker side of her power, which of course in turn gives her more power. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I am curious when they're going to bring back the Fugitoid. I don't know if we should expect that anytime soon, or, you know, what the deal is going to be with that. But I think this would be one of the good times to do it because, of course, this is, you know, a supernatural element where they go to this planet and it's like this planet used to be beautiful and peaceful, and then all the species kind of turn evil because of the power. So this kind of seems like the type of moment to bring Fugitoid back, where he's like, hey, this is what we have to do in order to stop this, you know, specific thing, because it's with a human instead of those alien creatures. It might be a different answer, you know, than before. So that might not happen, who knows, and it could just be that Master Splinter does the cool sensei thing and he's like, just gain control, and she does it. But I am excited to see how they do this next one. Of course, definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode, so please comment below, let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and I want to know, now that we've gotten, you know, our first nice bout of the Super Shredder, I want to know where you guys think it's headed. Like, how is this going to end with the Super Shredder? Is he going to survive and they just cure him and turn him back into normal Shredder? Is he just going to die? You know, are they going to go that route? I mean, it is season 4, so it wouldn't be that crazy. I mean, if they did that at this point where they actually killed Shredder off, and then, or at least Orokusaki Shredder, and then came in, you know, with some other people. So I definitely want to know your predictions for that. They already kind of did the Karai thing, so that's already like a part of the other Shredder sort of storyline thing. But I would love to know your theories on where the Super Shredder storyline is going for this series, and of course what you guys thought about the episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.